This is amazing. You don't get this anywhere. That's why it is so great to be in this economy. You can build so much wealth in this economy leveraging the tax code. The tax code is not there for you to be paying taxes, it is there to incentivize you to build wealth if you do it right. I mean, the reason I talk about finance guys, the problem we see here is that you see, this is an area that I see a lot when I do tax resolution. So people have to thank you, and welcome to another edition of Tax Talk with Charles. Today we're receiving a very, very special guest for our program today. He's a creme de la creme in the business, and he's going to tell us a lot of stuff. We're going to be having something really interesting today, and I'm excited to have you. I know we've been away for a while, but this is becoming a mainstay. We're going to be here every week. I want to make sure that we're talking taxes. We're talking about things that are happening in the industry. There's been a lot of changes in the economy. There's so many exciting things happening in the United States right now. And if you're in this space, you better watch out because there's a lot of value that we're going to be contributing to you. There's a lot of things that we're going to be telling you. The government has changed and many ideas are going to be different. It's so important that we know what's going to happen. We're going on a ride. We're going to go through 4 years of a ride. And I want you to be very, very well prepared for that ride. So, guys, we're going to talk today about something that's very interesting. We're talking today about cost segregation. And for those of you who have been on the program, you know, we talk a lot about things that happen to your lives. You're talking about wealth building. You're talking about the American dream. You can't talk about these things without talking about taxes. And you can't talk about taxes without talking about cost segregation. Because the tax code, as I say all the time, the tax code is inherently biased to investing in real estate. And if you do real estate, you're going to win. There's a winning game in real estate. And today I'm bringing somebody who is from one of the most notorious, the main companies in cost segregation. Today we're talking to Eden. Eden Markovis is a guy who is, I mean, I've known him for years and he's been in this industry for many, many, many years. Today I'm happy, guys. Let's just welcome our guest tonight. Our guest today, it's Eden. So thank you, Eden, and welcome to our show.
What's up, buddy? How are you? Good to be here. I like your energy, man. You get me fired up too.
Always, we're excited about what we do, right? We talk about these things. We talk with energy because we are passionate about what we do. And I am so excited to have you today, Aiden. I know you've been in this game for a long time. You're one of the guys who is leading in this area of cost segregation. And I tell my audience all the time, I tell the people I work with that the tax code is inherently biased to investing in real estate. It's inherently biased to investing in real estate. And if you want to win in this economy, the one of the biggest areas you must play in is real estate. When you do real estate, you just don't pay taxes if you're structured correctly. And one of the key things is what Eden is going to talk about today. So, Eden, before we get started, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm living in Dallas, Texas. Here, not too far away from you. I've been here for about 9 years in Dallas. I grew up in New York. Lived in California a little bit. So I've been in a lot of different cities. Over the past 15 years, and been in real estate industry for about 9 years. Buying, selling, brokering, flipping, rental. So real estate is amazing. Like you said, it's yeah, the tax code is written for real estate investors, and it's a great way to build wealth and to build generational wealth and to help with tax burden. So there's a lot of fun things. There's a lot of not fun things about real estate too. We're not going to talk about those today, but not everything is glamorous and easy and made out like the gurus show you on social media. But you put your head to it. You do some hard work. and you take a little risk and learn from the right people, there's a ton of opportunity in the space. So I'm very passionate about real estate in general. And like we're going to talk about today, what's even better is just the tax benefits and strategizing on how to use the real estate that you're gaining equity and building wealth with to help pay less money on taxes for the money that you're generating doing whatever you're doing.
Absolutely. So, Eden, I am excited to have you. And I know everybody on the platform is excited. There are things happening. So, tell us about this thing. I need to know a little bit. We are all excited in the industry about cost segregation. We're excited about bonus depreciation. Where do you see us going the next 4 years?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not a prophet, and I don't want to like say something here that I'll be held accountable for. But under the Trump administration back in 2017 is when 100% bonus depreciation was, first introduced, right? So that lasted from 2018 through 2022. So those 4 years, 100% bonus. I guess we'll get into the details of what 100% bonus means. But to answer your question, I think the likelihood of going back to 100% bonus is pretty high. Um, if I had to guess, 75 to 80% chance of it coming back 2025 and forward. The question that a lot of people are asking me is, what about 23 and 24, where it was 80 and 60? Will that be retroactive back to 100? Is that going to stay 80 and 60? That's a whole nother topic because there was a bill that was proposed earlier this year.
Exactly. I was going to talk about the bill. Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
the bill was going to go retroactive, which would be kind of like it would be good, but it'd be a nightmare for people like me and you who have to go back and amend returns and re-strategize and restructure things. I mean, ultimately, it's a good thing, but that is debatable whether we'll go retroactive. So, an interesting topic right now. We're recording this in December. If you buy a property in December of this year, right? You could be at 60% bonus if nothing changes, right?
That's
If you
correct.
close in January, you'll either be at 40 or maybe 100 if a bill changes. So I have people saying, "Hey, should I not close in December and close in January and, use the bonus depreciation for 2025, tax purposes because I may get 100% bonus or maybe it will get reversed to for 2024 to 100% or may stay at 60." So it's a weird time, the month that we're in right now. I don't know when this recording is going to come out. We may know the answers, but right now we don't know what's going on. So I'm hoping for good news, and so are you, and so is everybody in the real estate world. We're, fingers crossed for some good news.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about this. But does it really matter when you buy, when you close? I mean, I could really close in 2024
Mhm.
and still use my bonus in 2025. Does that really matter?
But the rules of how much bonus depreciation you take will go after the date placed in service. So if you buy it in 24, you don't necessarily have to use your depreciation. You could use it in 25 or 26, but the amount of bonus is going to be subject to the year that it was purchased and placed in service. So if you buy in 24, let's say, and it's 60% bonus, even if you don't take any depreciation for the next 2 years, when you do in 26, you're only going to be eligible for 40% bonus if nothing changes.
Great question.
Yeah.
Does that also mean that I have a lot of clients who had their properties closed in 2021?
Mhm.
Does that also mean that in 2024, when I do their cost segregation, I'm going to use the rules in 2022 and 2021?
Correct. Yeah, you have to go back to the year it was placed in service. So if it should be already depreciated on their tax return. If
If
it
it's not, if it's not,
So if it never was placed in service, so if you have 21, 22, 23 tax returns, I get this question a lot and I see it. I say, hey, you bought the property in 2022. Can you send me your depreciation schedule so I can see how much you allocated to land and how much depreciation you've taken over the last 2 years? People will say, oh, I don't know what that is. I say, okay, get me a copy of your tax return. I'll find it for you. We'll go to the tax return, look for the depreciation schedule. There are times, believe it or not, that it never was put on a tax return. So it never was placed in service. So if it never was placed in service, talk to your CPA. I'm not giving you the answer, but a lot of times it'll be placed in service now, right? If it never was placed in service, if you're not amending your returns and going back, you're really placing it in service this tax year, even if you've owned it for a couple of years. So talk to your CPA about what to do in that situation, your tax planner, but the real way to do it is place it in, it has to be placed in service the year that it was actually purchased and placed in service.
But this is a great strategy for those who qualify, because you have to qualify, and that's something we'll talk about.
Mhm.
But for those who qualify, some of these people come to us and they have taxes. They have some large amount of back taxes for the previous years,
Mhm.
and they did qualify. It could have been placed in service in those years,
Right.
but they just didn't file the taxes correctly. So
Correct.
what do you say about that?
You can go back and amend the return and place it in service for that tax year, do a cost segregation study, and get the bonus. But it'll obviously be subject to the rules of that tax year. So if you're going back to 2021 and placing in service right now, and you're amending the 21 return, you're not going to get bonus depreciation because 2021, yeah, 2017 was when it was instituted, 2018 to 2022. So any of those 4 years, 2018 through 2022, you will get 100% bonus depreciation. So you can go back, amend the return, place it in service, do a cost segregation study, and take 100% bonus in those years.
Amazing, amazing, Eden. So we know that in the House already passed the bill that you're talking about. That bill was already passed in the House by an overwhelming majority.
Correct.
It was held in the Senate for some reasons.
Yep.
So you are saying that there is a likelihood that it's gonna go through, but that bill is going to be modified. I mean, those are just hypotheses. So what
Exactly.
do you say about that?
I mean, I'm hoping that it passes. That it may be changed a little bit, but I mean, look back at the last term of Trump. That's when it was instituted. He's a big supporter of real estate. He owns a lot of real estate. He gets a lot of what for without getting into the details. People give him a lot of garbage that he didn't pay taxes and blah blah blah. I mean, he was smart about how he depreciated his properties.
I'm not sure if we got it right, but I was asking about the fact that we had gone through Congress with all of this. It was in the Senate, and for some reason, it got stalled in the Senate for obvious reasons because of the elections and whatever. But we had an overwhelming pass in the House.
Mm-hmm.
And the House, we thought it was just going to go through in the Senate. It didn't go through. So, my question to you is, do you think that bill is going to be modified? Or I'm not saying that you have the magic ball here, but what is the industry saying about this? Are we expecting any changes, major changes to that? I know Trump is a big guy in this. My key question is it going to make it retroactive, or is it going to start 2025?
I don't know about the retroactive part. The bill that was proposed was to go retroactive. So maybe yes, maybe not. I think there's a great chance of it coming back moving forward. 2025 for 4 years. Hopefully, we get 100% bonus depreciation back. It's good for the real estate industry. It's good for people who own real estate. It's good for people who are selling. It's good for everybody. I mean, it's a
It's
phenomenal.
good for everybody who is building his dream, who's investing in
That's right.
assets, in real estate. And
Yep.
real estate remains one of the biggest buckets for building wealth.
That's right.
So if you're here, I tell people all the time that most people are not sophisticated investors. Real estate is one of those things that you don't need to be sophisticated to invest in it. And like I said before in the intro, the tax code is for real estate. It is inherently biased to real estate. You don't buy a property out of your money, you buy it out of other people's money, yet you can still take that property and wipe off your tax bill with it. What sounds better than that?
It's funny because I have a lot of friends that they don't invest in real estate. They have stocks and other investments, and I always say you can't depreciate your stock, right? You could own shares of Apple, Amazon, Bitcoin, whatever. Those are great, and I invest in those too. But you don't get tax benefits. You don't get depreciation and tax deferrals, tax benefits for owning, shares of Walmart or Amazon or whatever. You could get rich on Bitcoin too, but it doesn't come along with the tax benefits that real estate bring. So I think diversifying and investing in different assets, is the smartest move. Uh, if you don't have money in the stock market, some people will call you stupid. If you don't have money in real estate, some people will say you're stupid. So it's nice to diversify and have the good thing about real estate is you mentioned not everyone's savvy, and it's not as difficult as it's made out to be. It's also not as easy as it's made out to be, right? If you put your mind to it, you do some research, you can listen to great podcasts, you can read books, you can get a mentor, and then if you really are not interested in taking that ride yourself, you can invest in syndications. You can find people that you trust. Be careful who you find. Uh, Invest with somebody who's doing all the work for you. They're just raising the money. And if you have money to invest, you can just write a check for 25, 50, $100,000, $1 million, give it to someone else and let them do the dirty work with the real estate investing. And you can get the tax benefits of owning, right? You own a percentage of that property. You get the tax benefits for owning that property.
So, Eden, I'm going to ask you one question. I know you, but before I even get there, can you give us the process? Just tell us a little bit about the process. I have a lot of clients who are here who are looking at cost segregation, and people who are even not clients, people who have invested in real estate or who want to invest in real estate. And their whole idea is, I want to invest in real estate because I hear that it's going to save me in taxes.
Mhm.
So, and when they invest in real estate, can you just give us a little bit of how the different processes with cost segregation?
Sure. Yeah. So the basics are, I'll try to make a complicated piece into something that's pretty simple to understand. So essentially, when you buy a property, let's just say $1 million property, the land is not depreciable, right? So the land component of your property, whatever the raw land would be worth, if the building burnt down to a crisp and everything on the property burnt down, the land still has value, right? Somebody else will buy the land and they'll put another building on it. So whatever the land is worth, that does not depreciate, right? Because it's going to be there. It's not wearing out. So let's just call it 25%, right? You have $1 million purchase, 25% of that $1 million is just the raw land, right? So you have $750,000 in depreciation, right? If it's a residential property, it's a multifamily building, it's a mobile home park, it's a right place where people sleep except for a hotel, it's going to depreciate over 27 and a half years, right? So take 750,000 divided by 27 and a half, and that's the amount that you get in depreciation every year. If it's a commercial property, if it's an office building or a retail shopping center, right? Anywhere where people don't sleep, or a hotel, that would depreciate over 39 years, right? So the same building, if it's a multifamily or office building, the wear and tear is going to be a little bit less because people aren't there 24/7. It only operates, commercial buildings, besides for hotels, usually only operate, during the day hours, right?
Absolutely.
So those depreciate over 39 years. How the IRS came up with these amount of years, who in the world knows? 27 and a half. Why the half? I,
Behind the
I
half.
still don't have a good answer to the half. 27 and a half and 39. So take 750,000 divided by 39. That's what you get if it's a commercial property. That's very nice. Those are great tax benefits, right? So what in the world am I doing all day, right? If that's how things get depreciated. There's something called cost segregation, accelerated depreciation, bonus depreciation, all these depreciations, right? So essentially, what we're trying to do is speed that up, right? Get the tax benefits now rather than later. You're not going to get more. You're going to get the same $750,000. You can't get more, but we want to get it now, right? Time value of money. I'd rather save money on taxes now than take 3% or 2% every year. Give me 20% now. Give me 30% now, right? I'd rather save the money, reinvest it, or do whatever I want to do with that money now, as opposed to getting a little piece every year. So what we're doing is we're breaking down the easiest way to understand this. Even if you're 5 years old and you're listening to this podcast, props to you if you are, right? You're starting out right. You're 5 years old, you build a Lego set, right? You have a million pieces in the Lego set. You take a hammer and you smash it. Now there's a million pieces all over the floor, right? And mom and dad come and say, hey, put that back, right? Put that back in the bucket. We're going to step on it and in the middle of the night and scream and curse or whatever, right? Put the toys away. So now when you're putting it away, imagine that there's three different buckets, right? There's one bucket that's the 27 and a half or 39-year bucket, right? That's the structural components. So that would be the foundation, the walls, the roof, the windows, the drywall, anything that's foundation, that's the main components of the property, right? Structural, that we can't do anything with. It's going to stay depreciating over 27 and a half to 39 years. The other two parts we can accelerate, which is on the interior of the property, would be a lot of the flooring, carpets, vinyl flooring, appliances, cabinets, countertops, window treatments, light fixtures, ceiling fans, a lot of the interior items, personal property, 5 year depreciation that is non-structural, right? So those depreciate over five. So imagine getting that over five instead of 39. That's a big difference, or 27 and a half. Major difference, right? The other bucket, the third bucket would be the land improvements, right? That would be anything on the exterior of the property that's not just raw land. So that would be concrete, fences, landscaping, pools, decks, pergolas, a lot of different fire pits, depending on what type of property you have. Any improvements that were done, not by you, by anyone to the land, that depreciates over 15 years. So you're taking the 5 and the 15 year and taking it much faster than just waiting all those years, right? That's step one. The even better part, which we've been talking about for a while, is this wacky thing called bonus depreciation. What in the world does that mean? Bonus depreciation means those 5 and those 15 year, the second and the third buckets of Lego that we were talking about, depending on what year it is and what happens with this whole bill. Right now it's 60%, maybe it'll be 100%. If it would be 100%, let's say we went back to 2022, or in 25 it goes to 100%, you can take 100% of all the 5 year property. You don't have to wait 5 years, and you can take 100% of all of the 15-year property. So on a lot of properties, on a, let's say, a multifamily property, that could be 30 to 35% of that $750,000. 30% could be in year one, right? 30% of your property could be 5 and 15 year components, and you can bonus that in the first year. So the savings could be 10 to 15x what you would get if you didn't do a cost seg study with bonus, versus the opposite, right? So it's a no-brainer. If you have big tax liabilities and you can use this strategy right, and you talk to your tax advisor, tax planner, CPA, whoever's helping you out, if it makes sense and it can work, then it's a game changer. Ooh, oh boy. All right, you ready for it? I'll have to charge you for this. Okay, so the best type of property, there's first of all, there's gas stations and car washes, right? Those are very good. There's certain requirements that you have to meet in order to get on a gas station or a car wash. There are times where you can get 100% of the entire building, like even the building components, right? That's car washes and gas stations. We're not going to go through all the requirements. We can talk about it offline. You can look it up, chat GPT, look it up. There are requirements, but gas stations and car washes are phenomenal for cost sake. That's number one, bonus depreciation. One of my biggest passions in the space that I'm very active in is mobile home parks and RV parks. Uh, those are super amazing for cost seg because there's not a lot of structure, right? We were talking about buildings and windows. There's land, but there's no buildings, right? If you own a mobile home park, you really own the roads, the pads that are underneath the mobile homes. Maybe there's an amenity center, there's fencing, there's landscaping, but there's not a lot of buildings besides for the people's homes that are in the park. So those could be 2 to 3x even a multifamily building. So RV and mobile home parks are one of my specialties. I speak a lot, do a lot of podcasts, go to a lot of networking events and conferences in that space because the numbers are so phenomenal. So those two are great. Multifamily is great. Retail centers, shopping centers, hotels are amazing. You know, on the lower end would be something that's a lot of like if you have like a warehouse, like, and it's just a shell, or self storage, if it's just like the buildings themselves, depending on what type of structures there are. Not to say that it won't make sense to do a cost seg, but it could be on the lower end. But I do have for anybody out there and for you, um, I have a breakdown of like 15 different types of real estate, which is the best for cost seg, and like general projections percentage wise for all of them. 15. I had it done by my team, and I'm happy to share. Anybody who reaches out, or I'll send it to you. You can post it, but it's a good little infographic to you know show what we were just talking about.
Eden, I have somebody asking me, why does the government want to do this? And I'm just going to tell you why. So,
Oh,
cost segregation helps with cost recovery. When you do any business, when you invest in anything in this country, your number one partner is always going to be the government. It's
mhm,
always going to be the federal government, the state. They are there as your partners in the business. So, what happens is that if you are the government doesn't do these things, residential buildings, commercial property, investing in real estate is not something that the government does because the government doesn't do this and it needs these things to be done.
mhm,
The government has to incentivize you to do those things. And
sure.
those incentives come in the form of they want to make you cost recover very, very quickly on what you have so that you have more money to invest, to do more things. And remember, one of the things that's very, very interesting about this thing is that you don't buy real estate with your money. You're using other people's money to acquire real estate. You are
Mhm,
using other people's money to acquire those assets. And what the government is telling you, we are in the United States of America. It's a capitalist country. Capitalism means the government is a small government. The government is very small. It doesn't involve in the day-to-day things. We run the government. The government is there. It makes the rules. We play the game. We are the ones basically building the economy. So that's why one of my mentors talks about building your own economy. You have to build your own small economy. So what the government gives you, it gives you all sorts of incentives. There's a capital market to give you the money. Middle class money is used by the top 1%, by the upper class to acquire assets. You acquire assets leveraging other people's money. And the government tells you that even though you acquire those assets with other people's money, it is going to give you another second advantage, which is going to be you now can easily you can cost recover on whatever you invested in the money, including the money that belongs to the other party, the loan. So this is huge. The government is doing that to incentivize you to do more. That is the reason we talk about cost recovery, cost segregation. The government is looking to incentivize you to do those things that they don't do. So, taxes, the tax code is not meant to make you pay taxes. The tax code is there to help you, to make you build your own wealth by leveraging other people's money. And the government is giving you additional advantages in the tax code. I tell people all the time that the tax code is a wealth making machine. If you can leverage
Very
it
positive,
right,
very
it's a wealth
positive way to look
making
at
machine. Yes.
it. A lot of people have negative views of the government and the IRS, and you're taking a very positive outlook. So I love it.
Absolutely. But that's the actual way you should be looking at it. Because if you look at, you and I know the tax code. When you look at the tax code is not there to make you pay taxes. The tax code is there to make you build the economy. And if you build the economy, guess what? The tax code is there to incentivize you to do more. The capital markets 2 weeks ago, about a month ago or 2 months ago, the Fed had to reduce the tax rate, the interest rates by another 5 points. Why? They want to incentivize us to do more. And real estate remains the number one wealth building machine. You invest in real estate, it's not complicated. And we're going to talk about, we're talking about it to an expert, someone who is investing heavily in real estate and who's also invested in helping people with cost segregation. So, most people ask this question about cost recovery. I was saying that cost recovery is the government's way of incentivizing you to basically do more. And we talk about capitalists. We live in America. The government doesn't invest in real estate. 99.9% of the real estate you see anywhere in America belongs to private equity. And the government needs that because that is part of the economic growth of America. And the government, therefore, uses something called the tax code to incentivize those who are investing to do more. So, what is cost segregation? Cost segregation allows you, government is allowing you to recover the money quickly, so that you can invest in more things that the government doesn't do. You're building your own economy. And it's a sum of all these small economies that makes the government. So, the way I look at the tax code is a wealth building machine. It basically helps you to make money. A couple of months ago, we had the Fed reducing the interest rates by another 5 percentage points. What does that mean? The government is giving you access to more of other people's money to invest in assets, to buy those things, to invest in those things, make yourself wealthy, and the government is going to help you. When you do any business in America, your first partner in that business is your state and the federal government through taxes. So the government is telling you that, okay, instead of me taking taxes from you, I'm going to give you an incentive to do more, to go out there and do more. First of all, you're buying the assets with other people's money because you're buying it with money with debt. Debt doesn't pay taxes. So you buy it with debt, and then tax code tells you that even though you acquired that asset with debt, I'm going to give you an additional incentive. You can take that debt. I'm going to tell you to basically cost recover early. Take that debt and wipe off your ordinary income with if you meet certain criteria. And this is amazing. This is you don't get this anywhere. That's why it is so great to be in this economy. You can build so much wealth in this economy, leveraging the tax code. The tax code is not there for you to be paying taxes. It is there to incentivize you to build wealth if you do it right. So I'm happy to have somebody who is doing just what I'm talking about here. And he's doing amazing things. And that's why I'm excited to have Eden here. Eden is an investor in real estate. And it's also helping a lot of people to basically know how to invest in real estate. So, Eden, I'm a newbie. I want to start in real estate. What would you tell me based on your experience?
Ooh, that's a tough question. So I think we touched on this earlier. I would look into an asset class that speaks to you, that maybe you know a little bit about. If it's a single family, a lot of people do start out in single family homes, so that's a good place. It's not a crazy amount of money. Wherever market you're in, you probably could find something that's. I mean, maybe not if you're in Los Angeles or Beverly Hills or Miami. It may not be that easy, but you can usually find somewhere within an hour drive of your house that you can buy a single family house and turn it into an Airbnb or short-term rental. And once you do one or two or three of those, it's kind of like training wheels for real estate in general to get you used to reading a closing statement, getting insurance, managing tenants, right? So a lot of people will start off in like single family or small, maybe a fourplex or something like that. It's a good place to start. I'm not saying you have to, but if something else speaks to you, if you want to own a hotel or you want to own an office building or a small little retail center or whatever speaks to you. I mean, mobile home parks are amazing. You're into like resort type of things, and you want to do like a small little RV park if you're in like an area that tourists are coming by, or you got to find something that speaks to you that you're going to enjoy, that you know a little bit about, you want to learn more about. If you have zero interest at all in doing any of that, we talked about before, finding other people that do like doing that stuff, that do know what they're doing, and investing with them, because you can get a lot of the same tax benefits that you'd get if you bought the property yourself. You can get if you partner up with someone or invest in a syndication as a limited partner. Um, Again, there's a lot of different layers to this in terms of ordinary income and using this to offset your W-2 or 1099 and real estate professional and all that kind of stuff, which is probably out of our scope for today. But uh, look into some of these opportunities, because like we said before, it can be major changes for your tax burden.
I know you talked about quite a few. There's quite a few things that you've touched that we've not gone into details of it. We're
Mhm.
going to have another session of this program
Okay.
just to talk about. And real estate is
Only one. I think we could do
it's
two or
huge. Real estate is huge. We're going to have many programs to talk about these things. And it is, I mean, there are so many people who are. I see somebody is asking a question for me. He's asking the question about, he wants to know what are the returns? What are the major returns you get from real estate apart from taxes? Should I only do real estate for taxes? And when I talk about real estate, when I look at real estate as an investment, I'm looking at least four areas of return on investment in real estate, at least four. The first thing you're getting with investing in real estate is that, number one, someone is buying that property for you. Someone is acquiring the asset for you. That's number one. Number two is the tax return on investment is just huge. I mean, the tax return on investment, we just talked about this bonus depreciation, code section 179. We can talk about different code sections that are there just to invest, just to help you invest in real estate. So, bonus depreciation in 2024 currently is 60%. So basically, you invested $100,000. You bought a property, let's say 10% down, you got a $1 million property. And then you have, let's say you have your taxable income is $500,000. You just bought a property for $1 million by putting in 10%. The fact that you bought that property putting in 10% means that that is your investment in that property. All the rest is going to be paid down by some third party.
You could even
So that's number one.
put down 0%. By the way,
you could even put down 0%.
It doesn't make
0%.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm saying here is, we all know that if you take that property, you just bought a property for, you can take that property, cost segregate it if you qualify for cost segregation, because you must qualify for cost segregation. If you qualify, then you cost segregate $1 million property. Eden was just saying about 30%. Let's assume you can get about 30% of that property. That's $330,000 you can write off immediately on your taxable income. If you're going on 60% in the current year, you are multiplying that 330,000 by another 60%. You can write off immediately about $250,000 or $240,000 immediately. And assuming that you are in that year, let's say next year, which is 100%, you're writing off $350,000 immediately. You just moved your taxable income from $500,000 to $150,000 by doing just one thing. And if you think about it, that saves you about $200,000 in taxes. That's 100% return on investment. That's number one. You think about it in terms of property appreciation. You only had $100,000 to appreciate. Now you have $1,000,000 on which you own all the appreciation. Properties, correct me if I'm wrong, for the last 30 years, at least 7% growth. If you take 70%, 70%, I mean, what does that represent on $1,000,000? That's about 70,000, 7% growth. That's about 70,000. So you have another 70% return on investment because you only invested $100,000. The third one is mortgage reduction on your property. The mortgage on your property, someone else is paying for it. Someone is paying for it. So assuming that your property, the mortgage went down by, let's say, even $20,000. $20,000. That's about 2% or how many, whatever percentage it is. It's an additional percentage that you're adding to your return on investment. And then you have cash flow. You have cash flow that is coming to you because always, almost always, if you get the properties right, you're going to get cash flow because your mortgage is always less than the rent you get from a property. So if you think about all these things, right? I mean, I'm just throwing these things out there so people can see the power in investing in real estate. So, Eden, if you have anything to add on this, I think this is so important. It was important that we have this meeting so that people can understand how you can basically build yourself to wealth in this country by doing very simple things. You buy real estate with other people's money, yet you get all the tax benefits that accrue to you alone. So, what else can you tell me about that?
I think you said everything there is to say. You said it right. I think we do need to do another session because we need to get into the nitty gritty details of how to apply cost seg and how it really works. We didn't touch on a lot of things, but the main points we talked, the concept, the bird's eye view. We talked about the power of real estate and how roughly how cost seg works. But I think you really nailed it. You know, the opportunities in real estate for cash flow, for appreciation, for depreciation, and the benefits that you get for it, you know, it's endless. And there's so much more opportunity when you get into real estate and you start doing one thing, you see, wow, I can do also this thing, and I can be a broker and earn some commissions. I mean, I'm a realtor too. Sometimes you get really nice commission checks that roll, into your plate. So there's brokerage, there's rental properties, there's flipping, there's so many different things that once you start getting into the industry and learning more, educating yourself, listening to more podcasts, reading books, networking, going to events, going to conferences, it's the sky's the limit in real estate.
I don't have enough money to be able to invest in real estate. What do you say to that?
Well, I invested in the first piece of real estate and I basically had no money to my name. I didn't have any spare money, but I found a partner that had some money, right? So if you're knowledgeable and you're willing to do the work, and you know what you're talking about, you can invest in real estate. You can have $0 to your name as long as you find someone that has a little bit more money. There are people that have plenty of money, they don't have time or effort, or they're not interested in running around, knocking on people's doors to see if they'll sell their house or whatever. But you have the time to do it, right? There's opportunity out there. There really, we all make excuses. There aren't that many great excuses. If you really want to make it happen, you can make it happen. You'll find a way. Don't say, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. If you don't have money, find someone else who does. If you don't have the time, find a way to make money to give it to somebody who has more time. You can always find a way to make something happen if you really want it to happen. And if you want to be a real estate investor and that's something that's important to you and you believe in it, you can make it happen.
Aaron, I'm glad you talked about this because most people don't understand the power of leverage. Leveraging people, leveraging resources that are at your disposal. Think about this. Most people always think, I want to buy, I want to own it 100%. I want to put my money in this. If you look at Elon Musk is the richest person on planet Earth. He only owns 22% of Tesla. Only 22%. And that makes him the wealthiest person on earth. What does that tell you? It tells you that, and then if you start, I can talk about these people more and more. You don't need to own everything. You just need to find your own part in the game. As long as maybe you're the person who's going to knock on doors, maybe you're the person who is going to basically be putting the money in, maybe you're the person. There are different roles in real estate. You just take your portion, and then you guys can come together, and then you build some crazy stuff. I'm glad I had somebody like Eden on this platform today. We can talk here for ages. The most important thing is that, Eden, I want you to promise me one thing. We've been working in the past, and we've been having so many events together. I want you to promise me one thing, that we're going to have many more of these sessions to tell people. I tell this because in your community, and this, I'm a community guy. I come from a community. And it's so important that I'm speaking to that community. And I need people like you who have been there, have done it for years, to come and tell my community that it is possible. It is possible. That American dream that we all aspire for is not only in coming here, getting the best degrees, and being a professor or being whatever. It's about doing those things, understanding how the system works, and then navigating the system to building your own wealth. We can all be part of the top 1% if we understand these things the way they work. And that's why I'm glad to have somebody like Eden, who comes from a community that maybe they understand the game. Let's all learn from these guys and win in the game. So, Eden, your last words.
To
And
be
before I get there, there are people who are asking, how can we get hold of this guy? How can we talk to Eden? So, Eden, how do people get to you? I know they can get to you through me, but
Yeah,
how do they get to you? That
we don't want to bother you. There aren't too many Eden Markowitzes. If you see my name, Eden Markowitz, you can look me up on LinkedIn and send me a message. Facebook, LinkedIn, those are two social media platforms that I'm pretty active on. And then it would be emarkowitz at madisonspecs.com. If email is good for you, E Markowitz, Markowitz at Madison specs.com, Madison Spec. So those are the three ways you can reach out. Like I said before, any questions, properties, whatever you got on your mind, hit me up, and we can always jump on a call. And like you said, to end off, I think this is there's a lot more to talk about. We can definitely get deeper into the cost seg, and I'd love to plan an event where we can do something together, Houston, Dallas, or something in the near future. We got to get together.
absolutely, we will for sure. But I can tell you guys, I know we didn't go into the detail, into the weeds of cost segregation. And I know this is a topic that we all want to be aware of. We all want to know how these things work. So Aiden is going to come back here at a very, very, very soon for another episode where we are going to be running about these things and telling you not only about buying real estate, but also about how you can make America work for you. I want to thank you all. I appreciate you. Guys, go to our website, follow us on on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. We are there. We are giving you content, material that will change your whole existence. America is a completely different territory from where we come, and we need to understand how the system works so that we too can all be part of the top 1%. I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.